It has been a long time since I've featured a Seiko Sumo on the channel. So when my buddy Mike offered to send over a group of watches, and including this Sumo, I absolutely jumped at the chance to try one out again. I personally don't own one. I have owned a few Sumos in the past. They are great watches. Probably one of the best finishing cases in the Seiko lineup, how sharp the contrast is from the polished to the brushed finish, and then that case is just, iconic. So this one's not stock, this one's been modded, but let's start first with the fact that this is the Pepsi version, which is, I don't think it's been out super long. This is the sbdc057. There's been some special or releases not too long ago recently, like the blue coral and this one and maybe a few others, but the rumor is, and I believe it is actual fact, that Seiko will be stop making this iteration of the Sumo. I don't think they're going to stop production. In fact, I believe that they're going to refresh this. So you got to remember, this is Sumo, I think, came out in like 2007. So that's a pretty long run with just minor changes. They've done some different colorways. They've added the Prospex on the dial and some, certainly limited and special editions. So I think it's going to be a welcome refresh for the Sumo fans or for the Seiko fans in general. So we'll get more into that a little bit here. But let's talk about this guy. In case you don't know, the Sumo is, measurement-wise, it seems like it's a bigger watch. And it is, but it's going to wear really good. And I'll show you on the wrist here in a minute. But I measure with my calipers 44.7 all the way across here. Lug to lug, 52.4 drilled lugs. The thickness, this one's a little unique because it has a double dome sapphire crystal, but the thickness is around 13 mil. And you have 20 millimeter lug width. The bracelet tapers to an 18. So let me give you a wrist shot as we continue to talk about this guy here. So like I said, this one's not stock. Obviously it has the double domed sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, which oddly enough, when you get AR on those domed crystals in here, my lights really reflect off it. But you can see, it just hugs the wrist, and it's large size when you take its measurements just on paper without actually trying it in the metal would lend you to believe that it's going to be too large for you. But I know, and if Jorge's watching this, he'll chime in the comments, but he has, I think, about a 6 3/4 inch wrist, and he wears a Sumo no problem. As a matter of fact, if you guys listen to the Two Broke Watch Snobs, I was listening to their podcast, well, every Monday. I look forward to it, but Kaz actually has a Sumo, and his wrist is also, I think, probably around 6 3/4, and he wears his Sumo all the time. He loves it. So don't think it's too big for you guys. It's 6 3/4, 7 1/4 like mine. You can wear them, no problem. It's just this phenomenal case shape. Plus, that doesn't lay super flat, but it articulates. So it does not extend the lug to lug. So sure, the lug to lug is 52, but it's not anything more than that. Like some watches will deceive you with like a 48 millimeter lug to lug, but then they have that solid center link coming off the backside here, and then it really ends up being like 52, which this one is. So, of course, with a Pepsi, you get the brilliant red and blue aluminum bezel insert, which I actually kind of prefer over ceramic. Ceramic's nice here and there, but there's nothing that can mimic the look of that aluminum, the way it's done. And it has a nice chamfer going towards the crystal, so it has a lot of things going on there on the top side. Their all red seconds hand is really nice, except for the tail of it there is black. Similar to how the hands are done, they're also blacked out on the backside, on the tail end of them after the post. So, and then a rich dark blue dial along with that inner chapter. So overall, just a really good design. You can see the sharpness and the finishing on this guy too. 120 click bezel. It sounds and feels just like any other Seiko bezel. So no surprise there. It's very familiar. I'm pretty sure these are pin and collar on these. I haven't sized one in a long time, so but I'm fairly certain they are. Seems like a lot of their Seiko dive watches are pin and collar. No big deal to me, as long as you know what you're getting into. Also, the other mod besides the double dome sapphire crystal is the signed crown. This one does not come with the Seiko S signed crown. I forget where Mike said he sourced that, but that is an additional upgrade. And if I'm not mistaken, it almost seems like it's maybe a touch bigger, but maybe not. I can't remember, but it looks great on there. It's always nice to have a little bit of extra pop on there. This one is basically brand new. I think he's worn it a couple times. It still has the blue protective plastic on the back. I don't know why guys don't pull those off. Even when I keep a watch new, I pop that off. But it's not my watch. I'm not going to take it off. So, you know, standard, I'm very, you know, used to these Seiko clasps, but I usually don't talk much on them. I know a lot of people prefer like milled clasp and everything. I'm totally fine with these Seiko clasps. They're super thin. They work. They're almost a toy. Like if you flip them like that, it has a nice sound to it. You have the 4 micro adjusts, the double pushers, and of course you have a dive extension that none of us ever use. So most of us never use. I'm sure some of you guys actually use them. You know what I mean. Houses the 6R15 movement, and now these later Sumos, I'm sure, are going to have the 6R15D, which is the current iteration. So overall, it's a really phenomenal, iconic Seiko diver, and of course it comes standard with that amazing Seiko Lume, which I will share with you right now. So, yep, never a disappointment when it comes to that. So I'm not sure where I left off on the topic of new Sumos coming out. Bruce actually posted a video today too. I'll put a link to his video in the description just in case you missed it for whatever reason. He has a very reliable source, and so I'm going off him. And he touches base on his latest video on this fact that the new Sumo is most likely going to be released later this year or something. And it should have ceramic bezel insert and sapphire crystal as standard. And I'm sure that'll also come with a price increase. Hopefully they keep the 6R15 movement in it. I'm sure they will. The Sumo's always had it, so I don't think they'll just backstep it into like a 4R35 or something. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and check out the links in the description. Thanks.